Welcome to the In My Opinion show with Ronald Berry Robinson and friends. With us, we have Miss Sharon Cheatham. Welcome to the In My Opinion show, Sharon.
Thank you.
We have Mr. Harold McIntyre.
Thanks, Ron.
And greetings go out to you too.
Yeah.
Welcome to the
Thank
show.
you. Thank you.
Let's talk about the New York Post. I'm urging everyone to boycott the New York Post. Far too long have we African Americans and other people of color looked the other way or forgiven the caricatures parody work of racist newspapers, journalists, and editorial boards. This also applies to television and radio. I'm sorry is not enough and no longer acceptable. These men and women must be held to a higher standard. Their work is influential to literally billions of men and women worldwide. Recently, in the New York Post, a cartoon shows two white police officers killing and standing over the body of a bullet-riddled chimp. One of the officers says to the other, they'll have to find someone else to write the next stimulus bill. There's no other way to view this picture article in the New York Post but as racist and saying President Obama and all people of color are synonymous with monkeys and must be killed. Given the violent history of race in the United States, this article is totally unacceptable in any form. I have no problem with free speech, but this article most provocatively compares President Barack Obama to a chimpanzee monkey that must be destroyed by any means necessary. This article is not satire, but racist pictures, rants whose only purpose is to stir the pot of separation and racism further. The most distressing image of the killing of the chimpanzee was a Washington Post article suggesting, with guns blazing, the idea that someone should assassinate President Barack Obama. There's a line that should never be crossed, and the New York Post crossed that line and must be held accountable. It is also time to examine the diversity of the management structure and the whole newsroom, so long as mainstream media maintains its commitment to segregation among its hosts, editors, writers, and producers. We are always going to have this problem. As a nation, each and every one of us has to make the commitment to force change. Boycott the New York Post and all its products. Harold, what is your thoughts on that?
I certainly and profoundly agree with you, Ron, that it was a racist article, and I think that not only you should boycott it, I think they should shut the thing down altogether. But it just goes to show you how the editor of that paper and the publisher of that paper thinks, and they're the ones who actually make the final decision as to what goes out on the paper. And there's no way that they can explain that to me as a black man saying, well, that's a satire, that was a satire, and it was made to be a joke. When you put a noose around someone's neck, whether it be a pig or a hog or a dog or a cat, it means it sends a message. Whatever that message is, it sends a message, and that sent a message. That sent a message to every person, every black person in this country, that that newspaper and the person who wrote that article was certainly a racist individual. And I agree with you. I am just outdone by that. I just think that those individuals of power, in terms of the editor and the publisher of the paper, they should have known. No. They knew what would happen. They knew what happened. They knew what happened, and they knew that was wrong.
And Rupert Murdoch, that owns the New York Post, ought to be. There's been a number of demonstrations here in Flint. The NAACP boycotted Fox Studios. Reverend Al Sharpton, they demonstrated in front of the studios in New York. I think we got to do a little more than just demonstrate and walk. Okay, hey, the chicken's got to come home to roost. All right, I'm not advocating by any stretch of the imagination, any violence or anything like this, but we've got to begin to put something on these people's minds that's going to stick.
Right, and that power could be boycotting the Post. I think that, like you said, they knew what was created there, and they let it go through, and they knew that it would stir up a lot of problems. And I felt like some satire is not very funny. It's taken, especially in the black community, the wrong way. We take it a little more further, that we, how can I say, we're more sensitive to, that kind of satire. and I just didn't approve of it at all. I didn't approve of it at all, and I think, like you said, not boycotting just the paper. You know,
Right.
Stop buying the products.
Right. That's
Stop the money flow.
right. That's what I was just going to say.
The only thing is, and
Right.
he's certainly right. Only thing is going to stop them is stop that money.
Yeah,
stop that money
economics,
from
right,
going
that
to
money.
that front
That's
door,
true. That's
and
true.
they'll stop that.
Right.
But if you do that, you go right out someplace else and start up some other company, another paper or another company,
Oh,
and
yeah.
have the same racist ideas. And
Yeah, that's
theories,
just like
you know.
with that
But at least we
Ron
would stop
Imus.
that. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, he just got on another station.
Got another station. Right.
Yeah, I think he's on that RFD station now. Well, that's no different than Rush Limbaugh too, but that idiot's another story.
Oh, yes.
In itself. The computer whiz. I was having trouble with my computer, so I called Eric, the 11-year-old next door, whose bedroom looks like Mission Control, and asked him to come over. Eric clicked a couple of buttons and solved the problem. As he was walking away, I called after him. So what was wrong? So what was wrong? He replied. It was an ID10T error. I didn't want to appear stupid, but nonetheless inquired, an ID10T error? What's that? Sounds like Star Wars a little bit, doesn't it? In case I need to fix it again. Eric grinned. Haven't you ever heard of ID10T error before? No, I replied. Write it down, he said, and I think you'll figure it out. So I wrote it down. It's spelled IDIOT. I used to like Eric. Spelled idiot.
Okay.
Eric the computer whiz. A little more humor. The marriage of an 80-year-old man and a 20-year-old woman was talk of the town. After being married a year, the couple went to the hospital for the birth of their first child. The attending nurse came out of the delivery room to congratulate the old gentleman and said, "This is amazing. How do you do it at your age?" The old man grinned and said, You got to keep the old motor running." The following year, the couple returned to the hospital for the birth of their second child. The same nurse was attending the delivery and again went out to congratulate the old gentleman. She said, "Sir, you are something else. How do you manage it?" The old man grinned and said, "You got to keep the motor running." A year later, the couple returned to the hospital for the third birth of their third child. The same nurse was there for this birth also, and after the delivery, she once again approached the old gentleman, smiled, and said, "Well, you surely are something else. How do you do it?" The old man replied, "It's like I've told you before. You got to keep the old motor running." The nurse, still smiling, patted him on the back and said, "Well, guess it's time to change the oil. This one's black." Just a little humor. Israeli father of 67 kids seeks ninth wife. With 8 wives and 67 children, Mr. Arar has given new meaning to the term family man. Abu Arar, 58, is a member of Israel's impoverished Bedouin Arab community, but even in a traditional society where men commonly have several wives and many children, Mr. Arar is an exception. "I'm thinking about a new wife, number 9, he told the Israeli Daily News. In a recent interview, "There are many women who wish to marry me, and there is no lack of women. I never had a problem with such things." Mr. Arar claims to remember all his children's names and says they are split almost evenly between boys and girls, and he's still going strong. It puts a new meaning for Cialis, Viagra, Rise, Levitra, and Uncle Bob. Okay? We all know who Uncle Bob is, that guy that smiles all the time. Nadia Solman, a.k.a. the baby machine. Woman has 8 babies, octuplets. Mom also has 6 other children between the ages of 2 and 7. Good news is the baby machine has sworn off any more pregnancies. What's the problem? My aunt had 19 children. That's a true story. My aunt had 19 children. Mm-hmm. The reality is there are millions of families that have had and will have over a dozen children or more. This woman has had death threats and attacks from every direction. Her whole life has been paraded throughout the world. Leave the family alone. And leave. I mean, it's nobody's damn business how many kids she has.
That's true.
What is your thoughts on that?
I think that if she would have had planned it out better, like if she would have had a lot, money saved up, long as she doesn't have to ask the state for any help. This is why she was getting the death threats, because people resent that she's going to raise her children on taxpayer money. But if she wants 20 kids, she can have as many children as she wants, as long as she loves them and takes care of them. I don't see any problem with it.
And it's
But-
millions of people being raised on taxpayer dollars.
Yeah, but she already had children. So I think that, she wasn't prepared so far as financially on how these children are going to be raised and who's going to pay a hospital bill.
But see, I don't think she knew. You know what I mean? That she was going to have eight children.
Yes,
you know,
she knew. She
I
knew
mean,
how many she had.
not immediately.
Well, for
all
one
right?
thing,
but you got these idiots out there telling her that she should have aborted these children. Now they're telling her since she had them, to give them away.
No, I think for one thing, I think that she wasn't really a good candidate to be. What did she have that?
Infertilization.
Yeah, infertilized. I don't think that she was should have went for that, because she already had 6 children. So why would you want more children? More children besides just one. It's not like she never had any children. Sometimes people want to be fertilized so they can have twins or triplets. But then when she had these 8 babies, it was 8 babies she had, people kind of frowned on that. It would have been different if she had a husband. And they were working.
I think it would still be the same. Okay, I mean, people are gonna be so vicious.
Yeah, but why would they give her death threats? What's the point of giving her death threats?
Because they're idiots. I think they have nothing better to do. But
see, anytime that you're gonna get on the state roll, people resent
well,
that.
that's all speculation at this point. Okay, on the state rolls. She's not on the state rolls.
Her current children are. So I know that the state is not gonna let her not go without. She's going to get some kind of care from the state.
More than likely.
She's going to get some kind of care. I think they had some kind of, excuse me, they had some organization come and volunteer to help her. I don't know if it was financially or with, people coming over to help, with the children. But it was an organization through Dr. Phil that came forward. And
well, now he's another joker that's sensationalizing this. You know what I mean? for ratings. I mean, I can't. I don't watch him. Period. I can't stand him. I think he's an opportunist. And Oprah Winfrey ought to kick him in the ass and his show and everything. What is your thoughts,
Ron? The only problem I have with that, and I really don't have a problem with it, because again, it's her choice.
Right.
She has as many children she want to have.
Right.
But when it infringes on what I can provide for my family, then I got a problem with it. Because when she starts to get on TV, national television, start asking for money,
right,
which I can give if I want to, but again, just like Cheryl said, she's gonna get some state aid somewhere.
Get some state aid.
Now because she's in where's she in California?
Mm-hmm. California.
Yeah,
yes.
because she's there, it's not gonna bother my taxes here. But if she was here, it may have.
Right.
So as long as it doesn't interfere with me and mine, then I don't have a problem with she having many children she wants. It doesn't matter.
Well, with California having a $45 billion deficit,
Right.
Yeah.
What the hell is a few more $1 million? You know what I mean?
They're already in enough problems as it is. They don't need any more problems.
Well, you know what? And then we don't know if the children are all well. They're still in the hospital.
Well, I think there's a couple.
I think Arnold's going to have to go back and do some more studio time.
You know what I mean?
Get some more money. Make some more money.
I think he is going back to make some more money.
Yeah, he is. He's got a movie coming out.
Yeah, he is going back.
He's going to have to go settle the deficit. But I really don't care. She has as many babies as she wants.
Right.
I just think that when they start to beg for money from other people that and they play on people's sympathy,
Right.
especially the elderly, and seniors,
Right.
And they'll send their life savings to that young lady
Right.
to help her out when she should not have even done what she done. But again, they will do it.
She's on asking for donations.
Yeah, she's
She
on a
asked
national
them-
website.
Right.
She's got a national website put up by her publicist. Now, she didn't have a publicist before this. Now, why all of a sudden she's got a publicist now?
Who's paying for that?
Yeah, who's paying for that? Ron's paying for it.
Well, hey, I mean, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say with that one. But let's pray for her, and hopefully that she makes it, and people will stop after all the hoopla is over. That she can live and her children can live
A normal
quality life.
Right.
All right.
Well, I certainly don't want her to have any death threats or anything of that
Yeah,
nature.
I don't think
and
those-
anybody that hurt her or those children, because
Right.
they have no qualms about being here. They were brought to this country in this world by the mom, so they have to be taken care of. Somebody has
and
to take
also
care
the
of.
doctor that fertilized
Yeah,
her.
yeah.
He's getting death threats. I mean, that's not his responsibility. You know what I mean? To tell somebody no. All right, I don't think that's ethical.
I disagree with that, Ron. I think it is. I think he has a right or as a not only a right, but he has the
But the Hippocratic Oath does not say
well,
anything.
It's not the oath. It's he has the moral right to tell her not to do what she's
This
done.
is what I was
He has a
saying.
moral right to do that as a doctor because he knowing all the time she's got six
Six
children all
children,
home,
right. This is
and then
what I
she's
was
gonna
saying.
bring another 3 or 4 along with it, and come to find out she's got 6 children there. He has a moral right to stop that type of infertilization
Right.
and cause
Well,
that harm
why?
to them.
Why? Because he's playing God. Now you got.
Well, I'm
him
not
playing
no,
God. now.
I'm not telling him the same praying God, but he has the right to tell her, I don't think this is the proper thing for you to
Right.
do. Okay, I can certainly see that you can try and have one child. I don't even think you should have any more at all,
Right.
because you have 6 at all. So I think he has a moral right as a doctor and as a physician, as a person that saves lives and brings lives into this world, to tell her that that's not the appropriate thing to do. I'm not saying play God at all. I'm just saying that he has a right and a moral right to tell her not to do it.
I think so. I don't see why she didn't want to adopt children. Adopt some of the children that were already born.
Yeah. I'm
Instead
quite
of-
sure.
and-
I'm quite sure California's got a more of a adoptable children than the whole country, because there's a whole lot of folk out there in California.
Right, that's
So she could have went out and adopted some children. She
Right,
wanted some more
right.
children, as opposed to being fertilized like
Right.
that.
Right.
Well, she just had that motherly instinct, I suppose.
Well, write it down next time.
I wish her well. I wish her well.
Well, yeah, she wouldn't have. But I mean, 14 children. I mean, my God, I got one at home, and sometimes she drives me nuts.
That's a little much.
7 years old, but I mean, having 14 rugrats running around. Oh my goodness.
But then there was a time when parents wanted and needed and should have a lot of children.
Yeah,
Because
but-
I've had 6 in my family, so there's a lot of children for. But when you have 16 and 17 children, back then in the 60s and 70s, those children were needed to work,
I was just
to
ready
help
to say that.
provide for the
Right,
family.
right.
These children are not going to do that.
No,
No,
they aren't.
no.
And then the where they live is not big enough. I think it
Right.
was just a 2-bedroom home.
Yeah, 2-bedroom house.
Yeah.
And I think they're being evicted from that because they was renting.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That is true.
They've been evicted.
Yeah. I am
It's unreal.
in foreclosure.
It's unreal.
Yeah. In the news. This is in the news now. President Bush, suicide drama. Will he or not? With his legacy and marriage in tatters, former President Bush is plunged into such deep depression, friends fear he may be suicidal. His whole world has collapsed around him, and he's never been lower, confides Texas sources. He crawled away from Washington on his belly, worn out and feeling unloved, and is now holed up on his ranch in Texas, licking his wounds. Well, that's what happens when you lie, cheat, and murder millions of innocent men and women and children in distant lands, and send thousands of honorable and courageous Americans to their deaths based on lies, Bush. Insiders say Bush is scared to death that the Obama administration will prosecute him for war crimes and other illegal acts. Bush, you deserve whatever you get. You crossed the line, and nobody is above the law. Bush is also worried that the former First Lady, Laura Bush, will expose embarrassing secrets in her upcoming book. You go, Laura. Expose the idiot. Will Condoleezza Rice be involved? Bush is devastated that people are calling him the worst president in American history. That's nothing new. I have said that on many occasions. You reap what you sow, Bush, and you are the worst president America has ever seen. The chickens are coming home to roost, Bush. Congressman John Conyers of Michigan has introduced legislation 104 to begin the process of appointing a special independent counsel to investigate the Bush administration's lawlessness. The people are coming to get your ass, Bush.
I hope they get
Harold,
Cheney
what's your
too.
thoughts?
They got to get
Yeah.
Cheney too.
Well, it'll never happen. It'll never happen in 100 years. It'll never. And don't think for one moment that Bush is going away with his tail tucked between his legs. He is just as happy as a lark. He's out from under all of that pressure, and he's given it the first black man in the country to run this country. So I'm quite sure that I would not think for 1 minute that this man is contemplating on committing suicide. Now, he's been there all of these years. They tried to kill his daddy. Now he's going to try to commit suicide because he thinks Obama's out. Oh, give me a break.
This man has failed at everything that he's ever tried. All right, everything that he failed at almost in school. If it wasn't for his daddy, he probably would have flunked out. All right, he failed as in the Air National Guards. I mean, more or less, he went AWOL. Okay, just like his idiot buddy Cheney. There must be some gene connection there someplace.
Ron,
Right.
that's trivial. This man has run the free world for 8 years. He was reelected for another 4 years. So those little things that you're talking about are trivial. This man has got more going for him right now than you would ever think. I guarantee he's not going away crawling on his belly.
Well, I can't wait to see him in an orange jumpsuit, all right, or striped. It doesn't matter because if you're listening to today on the news that the Obama administration and the Attorney General has uncovered information that was hidden. All right, and it's a matter of time before we find out what all that's about. That was on NPR and CNN today.
Oh,
okay. So hopefully, the chickens are coming home to roost.
And when they uncover, what do you think is going to happen to him? You think they're going to indict him? Never happen. You think they're going to put him in jail? Never happen.
Well,
you think they're going to sue him? Never happen.
things have a tendency to nobody thought Obama was going to be president.
No, now that's a totally different thing. I knew you was
Okay.
going to throw that in there, but
You
that's
know?
a totally different thing now.
See?
We're talking about the man. You're talking about the hen house. Now all of the hens was in there all white, and he's the same white hen.
Mm-hmm.
So ain't nobody gonna come and buy that hen that in there all white.
But they're going to run. They're running for cover. They're going to cover their ass. All right. They're going to snitch and make their deals that's going to benefit them. That's how it goes.
Yeah, they'll snitch and come up missing.
Well,
They'll come up missing. They snitch and come up missing,
wouldn't be
or come up with an instant cancer or something.
well, that's probably going to happen.
I think the American public is going to have to really rally behind something like this. I think that they just want.
I think they could care less. I think they really can care less what he's doing. The same thing that happened with Nixon when he went out in shame.
Well, you got a lot of those veterans parents that weren't very happy with the way, because of the war. The war was fought on a lie, and people are really upset about a lot of things that weren't told to us. And I think that if the public rally behind this, something might come out about this.
I doubt it. Never 100 years. Never
Well, stranger things have occurred.
Yeah, and you're right.
You know?
That's right. And maybe I shouldn't say never, never, but I tell you, I would not believe it in my lifetime that anything would happen to Bush.
Well, me
just
for
like they
one.
was thinking about something should happen to Nixon when he went out in shame. Nothing happened to him. They thought he should be indicted. Never happened. Never happened.
Well, maybe they won't build a library.
Congressional races are in a few months. An old country preacher had a teenage son, and it was getting time. The boy should give some thought to choosing a profession. Like many young men his age, the boy didn't really know what he wanted to do, and he didn't seem to be concerned about it. One day, while the boy was away at school, his father decided to try an experiment. He went into the boy's room and placed on his study table 4 objects: a Bible, a silver dollar, a bottle of whiskey, and a Playboy magazine. "I'll just hide behind the door," the old preacher said to himself. "When he comes home from school today, I'll see which object he picks up. If it's the Bible, he's going to be a preacher like me. And what a blessing that would be. If he picks up the dollar, he's going to be a businessman, and that would be okay too. But if he picks up the bottle, he's going to be a no-good drunken bum. And Lord, what a shame that would be. And worst of all, if he picks up that magazine, he's going to be a skirt-chasing womanizer." The old man waited anxiously and soon heard his son's footsteps as he entered the house whistling and headed for his room. The boy tossed his books on the bed, and as he turned to leave the room, he spotted the objects on the table. With curiosity in his eyes, he walked over to inspect them. Finally, he picked up the Bible and placed it under his arm. He picked up the silver dollar and dropped it into his pocket. He uncorked the bottle and took a big drink. While he admired this month's centerfold, "Lord have mercy," the old preacher disgustedly whispered. "He's going to run for Congress." He picked up the centerfold. That's the joke. This is Ronald Barry Robinson saying for the My Opinion Show. Until next time.